Hello everyone. Today we're going to talk about the lab policies for the Bio 105 lab at the University of New England. So this training is not meant to be comprehensive. This is just an overview so that you'll be prepared to come into lab on your first day. So each student is responsible for their individual equipment. You're going to be sitting in an assigned seat, and you're going to need to sanitize your station at the start and end of every lab. A mask must be worn in lab at all times, and you're going to need to maintain a 6-foot spacing when moving around the room. Each lab group is responsible for their group equipment, so don't write on the equipment or lab benches. At the end of each lab, be sure everything is clean and returned to its proper place, and that your lab bench is clean. All students are going to need to complete an online safety training. You need to do this once a year, and that should show up on Blackboard. You need to take that training in order to continue on throughout the semester. So there are no food, drinks, candy, gum, basically anything you can eat or put in your mouth or their containers allowed into the lab. One of the things that people don't realize is that also includes things like lip balm or chapstick. You can't apply that sort of thing while you're in lab. If you have any empty containers, they need to be disposed of before you come into lab. So if it's had any sort of food in it, it needs to stay outside. That includes all your water bottles and those sorts of things. No food, drinks, candy, gum, etc. Other containers in the lab. Trash either. So if you have that stuff, dispose of it outside. If you're asked to get rid of that stuff, it needs to stay outside of the lab. So, proper footwear and clothing. Shoes. Need to have closed shoes only. So no sandals, no flip-flops, no footwear with holes in it or slits. Can't have bare feet, of course, and the shoe must cover the instep of the foot. It has to basically cover the top of your foot. So that means that like ballet flats aren't going to work. Of course, any sandals or flip-flops aren't going to work. Crocs are way out, as well as any sort of other sandals with big holes in the side. Open-toed clogs, any open-backed clogs, or any shoes that are missing the backs of them, those aren't going to work either. And any shoes that expose the whole top of the foot. You also need to wear pants that cover down to the ankle. So no shorts, capris, or short skirts. So those also can't have any holes in them. They need to be entire. No bare midriffs. And you're going to have to wear goggles, gloves, or lab aprons when instructed to do so. All right. So none of these things are going to work. No shorts, no short skirts. And make sure that your pants reach all the way down to your ankles. Right? You may think that they do. All right. You should also test that if they go all the way to the ankle when you're standing up, that they also do so when you're sitting down. Because if your pants ride up, you're exposing a bunch of skin, you will be sent home to change. If there are any emergencies, if you get injured, someone else gets injured, make sure you let your lab instructor know immediately. Right? Once you get into lab, your instructor will show you, and you should know, the location of your eye wash station, where the evacuation plan is, lab safety showers, fire alarm box, the fire extinguisher, and where there is a telephone to call out for help. You want to read the laboratory policies and guidelines in your lab manual, and you will be signing and returning a lab safety contract to your instructor. So generally, in lab, you want to follow the safety rules of the lab guidelines section of your lab manual. Please turn off your cell phone. No talking on phones or texting during the lab. Answer your questions in your lab manual as you work through the lab. Be sure your name, your lab date, and time, and instructor's name is on everything you turn in. All right, so thank you for listening today. We will see you in lab.